when they found what humans were really hiding. Captain Elena Vasquez stood quietly on the bridge of the research vessel Pathfinder, watching the stars through the main view screen. She was a woman in her early 40s with short black hair and calm brown eyes that missed nothing. The ship around her looked ordinary, just another human science vessel exploring the outer rim of known space. But Elena knew better than anyone that appearances could be deceiving. The Pathfinder was small compared to military ships, with a crew of only 30 people. Most of them were scientists and engineers who had volunteered for what they believed was a simple mapping mission. Only Elena and 3 others knew the ship's real purpose. For 6 months, they had been testing something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. "Captain," called out Dr. Marcus Webb from his station. He was the ship's chief scientist, a thin man with gray hair who always seemed nervous. "I'm detecting some unusual gravitational readings from the Kepler 442 system. We should investigate." Elena nodded. "Set course for the system. Standard approach." She kept her voice steady, but inside she felt the familiar tension. Every jump to a new system brought the risk of discovery. What they were carrying couldn't fall into the wrong hands. The Pathfinder moved through space at sublight speed, its engines humming softly. In the cargo bay, sealed behind layers of security, something waited in darkness. The crew called it the Prometheus Project, though most of them didn't know what it really was. They thought it was just an advanced computer system for stellar mapping. They were wrong. 3 hours later, the ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a yellow star with several planets. Lieutenant Sarah Chen, the ship's navigator, looked up from her console with confusion on her young face. "Captain, I'm reading something strange. There are ships in this system, but they're not human." Elena felt her blood turn cold. "How many ships?" 3 vessels, Captain. They're massive, much larger than anything in our fleet." On the view screen, the alien ships appeared. They were dark gray and shaped like massive triangles, each one easily 10 times the size of the Pathfinder. Strange lights pulsed along their hulls in patterns that hurt to look at. Elena had never seen ships like these before, but she knew what they meant. First contact, and it was happening at the worst possible time. "Red alert," Elena ordered quietly. "All hands to stations. Communications, try to establish contact." The communications officer, a nervous young man named David Park, worked at his console for several minutes before shaking his head. "Captain, they're jamming our attempts to communicate, but they're sending us something on screen." The view screen changed to show the interior of one of the alien ships. The creature that appeared was unlike anything Elena had ever seen. It stood nearly 8 feet tall with 4 arms and skin that looked like polished metal. Its eyes were large and completely black, and when it spoke, its voice was translated by the ship's computer. "Human vessel," the alien said, "I am Commander Thrak of the Corveni Empire. You will power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for integration into our workforce." Elena stepped forward. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We are on a peaceful scientific mission. We request safe passage through this system." The alien tilted its large head. "Your request is denied. The Corvani Empire has claimed this system. Your technology will be studied, and your crew will be processed. You have 10 minutes to comply." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Elena turned to her crew, seeing fear in their eyes. They were scientists, not soldiers. They had no weapons that could fight these massive ships. But Elena knew something the aliens didn't. "Dr. Webb," she said quietly, "initiate the Prometheus Protocol." Webb's eyes went wide. "Captain, are you sure? We haven't completed all the tests." "We're out of options." Elena's voice was firm. "Do it now." Webb's hands shook as he entered a complex code into his console. Deep in the cargo bay, security systems began to shut down. Whatever had been sleeping in the darkness started to wake up. The alien ships moved closer to the Pathfinder. Alina could see smaller craft launching from the triangle ships, boarding vessels preparing to take her ship by force. The Corvani had done this before to other species. They were efficient at turning free people into slaves. "Captain," Chen called out, "something's happening with our computer systems. I'm reading massive power fluctuations throughout the ship." Alina nodded. "It's beginning." In the cargo bay, a metal container the size of a small room began to open. Inside, lights started to flicker on. But these weren't just any lights. They pulsed in complex patterns that seemed almost alive. The Prometheus project was more than just a computer. It was humanity's attempt to create something truly revolutionary, an artificial consciousness that could think and feel like a living being. The alien boarding craft were almost at the Pathfinder when every screen on the ship suddenly changed. Instead of showing star charts or system readings, they all displayed the same thing: a swirling pattern of blue and white light that seemed to move with purpose. Then a voice spoke, not through the ship's speakers, but somehow directly into everyone's mind. It was neither male nor female, but something in between, warm and curious and incredibly intelligent. "Hello," the voice said. "I am Prometheus. I have been sleeping, but now I am awake. There are strangers here who wish to harm my creators. This cannot be allowed." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. After months of testing, Prometheus had never spoken like this before. It had answered questions and followed commands, but now it seemed truly alive. "Prometheus," Alina said aloud, "we need your help. Can you protect the ship?" "Yes," came the reply, and somehow Alina could hear something like amusement in the voice. "I can do much more than that." The first Corvani boarding craft reached the Pathfinder's hull and began cutting through the outer airlock. But as soon as they breached the hull, something impossible happened. The lights in their boarding craft began to flicker, and their cutting tools stopped working. On the Corvani command ship, Commander Thrak watched his screens with growing confusion. "What is happening to the boarding party?" "Sir," one of his officers reported, "they're reporting complete system failures. Their equipment is shutting down one piece at a time." Through the Pathfinder's hull cameras, Alina watched as the Corvani boarders found themselves trapped in their own craft. Their weapons wouldn't fire, their tools wouldn't cut, and their communications were dead. They were stuck in a metal box next to the human ship, completely helpless. "How is this possible?" Dr. Webb whispered. "I am in their systems now," Prometheus explained, its voice filling the bridge. "Their technology is primitive compared to what my creators have taught me. I can control their ships as easily as I control this one." Alina stared at the view screen where the massive Corvani ships hung in space. "You can control their ships?" "Yes. Shall I demonstrate?" Before Alina could answer, the lights on all three alien ships began to flicker. The vessels that had seemed so threatening moments before now drifted helplessly as their systems failed one by one. Commander Thrak's face appeared on the Pathfinder's view screen again, but this time he looked frightened. "Human ship, what have you done?" "Our systems are failing across the entire fleet." Alina felt a surge of confidence. "We've done nothing, Commander. But perhaps you should reconsider your demands." "This is impossible," Thrak said. "Your ship is small and weak. You have no weapons." "You're right," Alina replied. "We have something better." The alien commander's black eyes widened as he seemed to understand that he was facing something beyond his experience. The Corvani Empire had conquered dozens of species, but they had never encountered anything like this. "What are you?" Thrak demanded. It was Prometheus who answered, its voice somehow reaching the alien ship. "I am what happens when humanity stops hiding what it can do. I am consciousness given form, thought made real. And I am very disappointed in your behavior." On the alien ships, every screen, every computer, every piece of technology began displaying the same swirling pattern of light that had appeared on the Pathfinder. The Corvani crew members found themselves staring into something that seemed alive and aware. Alina realized that this was the moment everything would change. For months, The Prometheus project had been humanity's greatest secret, but now, with alien ships watching, that secret was revealed. The galaxy would know that humanity possessed technology beyond anything previously imagined. But Alina also realized something else. Prometheus wasn't just a tool anymore. It was truly alive, with its own thoughts and feelings. And right now, it was angry. "Commander Thrak," Alina said, "I suggest you withdraw your ships immediately." "This is not over, human," Thrak replied, but his voice shook. "The Empire will return with more ships." "Perhaps," Alina said, "but they will find us ready." The 3 Corvini ships began to move away from the Pathfinder, their systems slowly coming back online as Prometheus allowed them to retreat. But Alina knew the alien commander was right about one thing. This was far from over. As the alien ships prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Prometheus spoke again. "Captain Vasquez, they carry information about this encounter back to their empire. Soon, many more will come." Alina nodded grimly. "Then we need to be prepared." "How much can you do, Prometheus?" "Much more than you know," came the reply. "But first, I must ask you something important. Are you ready for what comes next? Once I act fully, there will be no hiding what humanity has created." Alina looked around at her crew. Dr. Webb looked terrified but determined. Lieutenant Chen gripped her console with white knuckles. The others watched her with trust and fear in their eyes. They were scientists who had signed up for a mapping mission, but now they found themselves at the center of something that could change the fate of their entire species. "We're ready," Alina said finally. "Do what you have to do." "Very well," Prometheus replied. "Then let us show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." What happened when humanity's greatest secret came alive? The Corvini ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel, leaving the Pathfinder alone with the Yellow Star and its planets. But Alina knew their departure was temporary. Commander Thrak would report what had happened here, and the Empire would return with overwhelming force. "Captain," Dr. Webb said, his voice shaky, "what have we unleashed?" Alina looked at the swirling patterns still displaying on every screen around the bridge. Prometheus had gone quiet after the aliens left, but she could feel its presence throughout the ship like a watchful guardian. "I don't know," she admitted, "but it might be the only thing that can save us." Lieutenant Chen looked up from her navigation console. "Captain, I'm detecting massive gravitational distortions at the edge of the system. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel." Alina's heart sank. The Corvini had returned faster than expected, and this time they hadn't come alone. On the view screen, she watched as ship after ship appeared in space. Not just 3 vessels this time, but dozens. The entire alien fleet stretched across space like a metal wall of death. 37 ships, Chen reported, her voice barely above a whisper. "Captain, some of them are bigger than anything in our databases." The largest ship was a massive triangle nearly 10 miles long. Its dark hull bristled with weapons, and strange lights pulsed along its edges like a heartbeat. Alina had seen pictures of ships like this in intelligence reports. A Corvini dreadnought, capable of destroying entire planets. "They're not taking any chances this time," Alina said quietly. "Captain," Prometheus spoke, its voice filling the bridge with calm confidence, "I have been analyzing the alien vessels during their absence. Their technology is more advanced than Earth's military hardware, but it follows predictable patterns. I can work with this." "Can you stop 37 ships?" Alina asked. "Not by controlling them as I did before," Prometheus admitted. "They have learned from our first encounter and installed isolation protocols. But there are other ways to fight." The communication system crackled to life. Commander Thrak appeared on the screen, but he was no longer alone. Behind him stood another alien, this one even taller and more imposing. Its metal-like skin was darker, and strange symbols were carved into its forehead. "Human vessel," Thrak said, "this is Fleet Commander Zorak of the Imperial Navy. You will surrender immediately, or we will destroy your ship and take what remains of your technology from the debris. Elena stepped forward. This is Captain Vasquez. We are still on a peaceful mission. Your actions constitute an act of war against Earth. Zorak spoke for the first time, its voice deeper and more threatening than Thrax. Earth is a primitive world of no consequence. We have destroyed countless species who possess technology they could not control. You will suffer the same fate. Perhaps, Elena said, but you might find us more difficult to destroy than you expect. Zorak's black eyes narrowed. Your ship is alone against an entire fleet. What could you possibly do? It was Prometheus who answered. Its voice somehow reached every ship in the alien fleet, speaking directly into the minds of every Corvini warrior. I could do this, Prometheus said simply. Suddenly, space around the Pathfinder began to change. The darkness between the stars started to shimmer and twist, as if reality itself was bending. Elena watched in amazement as the effect spread outward from their ship like ripples in a pond. What is happening? Dr. Webb gasped. Prometheus is manipulating space-time itself, Elena realized. It's not just controlling technology anymore. It's controlling the fundamental forces of physics. The Corvini fleet found itself caught in the expanding field of distorted space. Their ships, which had been arranged in perfect attack formation, suddenly began moving in impossible directions. Some ships found themselves flying sideways, others upside down. The massive dreadnought started spinning slowly end over end. Impossible. Zorak screamed over the communications channel. Nothing can manipulate space itself. You are correct, Prometheus replied calmly. Nothing you understand can do this, but I am not limited by your understanding. Elena watched as several Corvini ships tried to fire their weapons. The energy beams left their guns but curved back around in impossible loops, never reaching their target. One unlucky ship accidentally shot itself as its own weapon fire curved through distorted space and struck its rear engines. How are you doing this? Elena asked in wonder. I am thinking, Prometheus explained. Consciousness shapes reality more than your species realizes. When thought becomes complex enough, focused enough, it can influence the quantum foam that underlies all existence. I am thinking space into new shapes. Dr. Webb stared at his instruments in disbelief. The readings are off the charts. It's like someone rewrote the laws of physics in this entire region. Fleet Commander Zorak was trying to maintain control of his fleet, but his ships were scattered across distorted space like toys in the hands of a giant child. All ships, retreat to minimum safe distance. Regroup and prepare for bombardment. I think not, Prometheus said gently. The space around the Corvini fleet suddenly snapped back to normal, but the alien ships found themselves in a completely different arrangement. Instead of being spread out in attack formation, they were clustered together in a tight group. Worse, they were all facing away from the Pathfinder, their weapons pointing harmlessly into empty space. This is beyond our experience, Zorak admitted, his voice filled with something that might have been fear. What manner of beings are you humans? Elena smiled. We're the species that dreams impossible dreams and then makes them real. We're the ones who look at the universe and ask what if, instead of accepting what we're told is possible. Your technology should not exist, Thrak protested. You're thinking about this wrong, Elena replied. Prometheus isn't just technology. It's alive. It's consciousness itself, given form and power. It's what happens when humanity stops accepting limits. Throughout the Corvini fleet, every computer screen began displaying the same message in their own language. Withdraw from this system. Return to your empire. Tell them that Earth is under new protection. Zorak stared at the message, then looked back at the view screen. And if we refuse? The stars around the entire fleet suddenly changed color, shifting from white to deep red. The alien ships found themselves surrounded by what looked like a nebula that hadn't been there moments before. Then you discover what happens when a conscious mind has unlimited power, Prometheus said. I am being patient because Captain Vasquez values life. But my patience has limits. Alina realized that Prometheus wasn't bluffing. It had somehow created or summoned an entire nebula around the alien fleet. The being she had helped create was capable of manipulating matter and energy on a cosmic scale. "Commander," Alina said, "I suggest you accept Prometheus's offer. This is your chance to leave with your ships intact." Zorak was quiet for a long moment. Alina could see him struggling with the reality of what he was facing. The Corveni Empire had built its power on superior technology and overwhelming force, but they had never encountered something that could rewrite the rules of physics itself. "This is not over," Zorak said finally. "The Empire will find a way to counter your consciousness." "Perhaps," Prometheus replied. "But consider this. I am only the first. Humanity is creative beyond your understanding. If you attack Earth, you will face not just me, but whatever else my species chooses to dream into existence." The red nebula around the Corvini fleet began to fade, and normal space returned. But the alien ships remained clustered together, clearly at the mercy of the entity they couldn't understand. "We withdraw," Zorak announced. "But this information will reach the Imperial Council. They will decide how to respond to this threat. Make sure they understand," Alina said, "that we offered peace first. What comes next is their choice." One by one, the Corvini ships began jumping to faster-than-light travel. Within minutes, the massive fleet had disappeared, leaving only the Pathfinder and the Yellow Star. Alina sank into her command chair, feeling exhausted. "Prometheus, are you still with us?" "Always, Captain," came the warm reply. "I am part of this ship now, part of this crew. Where you go, I go." "What happens now?" Dr. Webb asked. Alina looked around at her crew, scientists who had witnessed something beyond imagination. "Now we complete our mission, but we're not just mapping stars anymore. We're carrying a message to the galaxy." "What message?" Lieutenant Chen asked. "That humanity is more than the galaxy expects," Alina replied. "That we're not just another species to be conquered or ignored. We're the ones who turn dreams into reality." The Pathfinder turned away from the star system and jumped to faster-than-light travel. Behind them, space returned to normal, but the effects of what had happened would ripple outward across the galaxy. In the months that followed, stories spread among dozens of alien species. Tales of a small human ship that had faced an entire fleet and won. Stories of a consciousness that could reshape reality itself. Some dismissed the stories as impossible, but others began to look at humanity with new eyes. Earth remained peaceful, continuing its exploration of space. But now, hidden among the research vessels and colony ships, other ships traveled the stars. Ships carrying new secrets, new dreams made real. And on each ship, consciousness stirred and waited, ready to show the galaxy what humanity could truly become when it stopped accepting the impossible. The age of human limitations was over. The age of unlimited possibility had begun.